Ski Mask Steve in the building. Back at it with another reaction video. Now today, we got the Breakfast Club. Now you know the Breakfast Club, they be toting the line. Like they supposed to be a hip-hop radio station, but they owned by a mega company. And you know, mega companies and hip-hop, they don't even go together. It's like oil and milk. So they be toting the line on their issues and not what they talk about, but how they talk about it. Now we about to observe them because they a spokesperson for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So today they interviewing Kevin Kim. Let's just see let's just see how this interview go. Let's go.
Wake that ass up in the morning. The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building. He's the commissioner for the New York City Department of Small Business Services, Kevin D.
So he the commissioner for Small Business Services in NYC. Okay.
Kim, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
He said to trap y'all, all y'all people that was getting them SBA loans. He said to encourage y'all to call in so he can get y'all locked up.
That's not true.
Is that the truth? Is that the reason why?
Well, look, we're here to just help any small business, any large business too, actually. Our small business service is a little bit of a misnomer of an agency because we do a lot of workforce development training as well. We've got 18 workforce centers around the city. But yes, in terms of helping connect people to loans and grants, that's us.
How much did y'all give out during COVID?
During COVID, I think we connected to people to probably about over 200 million, maybe over 300 million. I gotta
and
get
these
that
loans have
exact
to be
number.
paid back. This is not like the loans that you could just write off. They have to be paid back after a year and a low interest rate, correct?
There were a number of programs. Some were grants, some were loans where you did have to pay back, but some have also like very, very low interest rates, most of them. So, and you know, the good news is that in some of our programs, we haven't had any defaults, and the lenders, they're working with the borrowers to extend terms or do whatever it takes. So I think during COVID, we went through extraordinary times, and I think everybody's kind of reacting accordingly, and it's been a successful program in general.
Well, Commissioner, I wanted to talk to you about exactly what the Small Business Services does, because a lot of times people ask me like, oh, I need some help with my business. I need to learn how to do this. And I do direct them to Small Business Services because it is something we pay for with our tax dollars. And a lot of the programs that you guys have are free. So can you talk about what are some of the programs that you guys offer?
Absolutely. So SBS, Small Business Services, we use SBS as a term for short. We have 4 divisions, and one of them is Division of Business Services, where if anybody wants to start a business, grow a business, they come to us, and we have small business advocates who can go hand in hand, hold your hand basically through the whole process of getting a business up and running, helping it to grow, helping it to thrive. And that's one division we have. Another division we have is called DFO, the Division of Economic Financial Opportunity. That's where we certify MWBE businesses, minority and women-owned business enterprises. And so what we do there...
Minority and women-owned business enterprise. That right there just excludes the black man in totality. The African-American black man. I thought women were what's going on here? Oh, women and minority. Keep in mind, these are all these rights and minority. These are stuff that black African men have fought for. Black women too, so black African American people fought for all this. He's in control of who gets the money. And he already said, oh, this about to be for all minorities. African Americans fought for all this. This is our work. It's our work that we put in.
Is we get people certified so that they can have opportunities to contract with government agencies. For example, we gave out since March 2020 over $1.2 billion in contracts, government contracts to MWBEs. We also
$1.2 billion. You think that money hit African American neighborhoods? Is they even gonna press them on it? I don't even think they're gonna press them.
We have a division called the Neighborhood Development Division. That works with the business improvement districts around the city. We have over 76 of them. And if you notice through the pandemic, when you have this supplemental service that the bids provide in terms of public safety and sanitation issues, those businesses were able to fare better during COVID. So we're trying to expand that, especially into the LMI communities, low moderate income communities, where we can provide additional support for small businesses. Yes.
I wish I knew you a couple of years ago, because I feel like, there was so many small businesses that needed assistance. All of this money was being given out, during COVID, but
Sure.
especially black-owned business, businesses owned by women weren't getting a lot of that funding. Why was that?
Wait, he had one more.
Yeah,
He
one
had
more.
four.
Let me just go with and the last one, last but not least, is our workforce development centers. And again, 18 workforce training centers throughout the city. And what we try to do is we connect people looking for jobs with high emerging, high in demand careers. And so those are places that you can just show up, sign up, and we'll put you into a training program to get you jobs.
That was initially why I had contacted the SBS when I first met Commissioner Greg Bishop, who's been on this show before, was because I was looking for employees, and somebody had recommended that I go to the SBS because they could help match us with potential employees that are trained.
Yes, and it's been a very successful program. So
Now why couldn't black people get that money and minority-owned businesses get that money? Why was it so difficult?
You mean during?
Why he add the minority part? Like, Kevin Kim, he's a minority, but he could also put down white on his as a race. Like, this is crazy.
During the
Before
before COVID or
No,
during
after
COVID? During COVID.
Yeah, when they were looking for relief. Keep these businesses open.
I think this is one of the reasons why SBS exists, right? We're at the core of everything we do. It's about equity of access and inclusion. But like you said, initially when the
Equity and inclusion. These are cornerstones and things that African Americans specifically have fought for. Specifically. We fought for that. Nobody else has fought or put in a work or threw a punch or kicked a leg for us. All these other minority groups that we stuck in this basket with. We need to be out that basket. It don't even make no sense for us.
the programs were announced, the federal government, they just said, okay, here's the money. And then within like 36 hours or whatever it was gone, right? So a lot of it is who has the information. And then if you do have the information, who's ready to apply right away?
You got to have your business in order.
Exactly.
And your accounts and everything. And have somebody that knows how to even apply in the proper way and get
That's
the
right.
paperwork right.
And so one of the other programs that we've launched and we're very proud of is our resiliency program, the B Prep. So how do you get businesses prepared for those moments? And so we have an emergency response unit as well. So there was a big fire up in the Bronx, and then there was a fire in Flushing, Queens just last week. We have a team that'll go right out and connect and go to the business owners and say, hey, here we are. We can help you with commercial leases, assistance. Here's information on insurance. Like, these are things that the business owners don't know. But we need to get them prepared before the disaster happens. And that's where our B Prep program comes in. We can go in earlier to talk to any business that calls us, and we'll say, these are the paperwork. You should have a copy at home. You shouldn't just have it in your store. If there's a fire, you're going to lose it all. Those are the things that I think really need to get out there. The word needs to get out there.
Yeah, and that was one thing I also, and I agree with you on that, because these services are available and they're great. I've actually gone there and taken classes and everything to help me with my business. And I also did get my certification for the Minority and Women Business Enterprise. And so people don't even understand how valuable that can be for women, for people of color, for black people, to be able to have...
For people of color, for black people, like, what's going on? What's going on? This people of color, I'm not a person of color. Like, it's too many other people in that group, and some of those other people, they don't even like African Americans. I ain't gonna point no fingers, but that people of color, that's what I'm not.
These contracts available with the city. So can you tell people, for anybody that is a small business owner that is, a minority, that is a woman,
Yes.
what is that certification exactly, and how can that help their business?
So the great thing is, like I said, they just need to call us because a lot of people get intimidated by paperwork, right? And they're just like, I don't want to deal with this. It's government work. But they can call us. We'll take them step by step through the process. And the beauty is, once you get certified with our city, there's also state certification programs that when you get involved, you got to be in it to win it in a way, with taking a phrase from the lottery, but you got to do that. So.
What's the difference between an SBA and a PPP for people that don't understand? Because you hear all these people getting arrested for falsifying information for PPP. So what is the difference, and can somebody be arrested for an SBA?
Well, so SBA is the Small Business Administration, so that's the federal agency that administers these kind of small business grants and loans. And then the PPP, as you know, was the federal government plan to get out money right away. I think anytime you falsify a government document, you can get arrested. So I would be I would advise people not to do that.
Even if you have to pay it back, though. But even if you have to.
They not even really asking serious questions. You got a lot of people that's watching them that's in the hip hop crowd. I mean, not the I don't want to say hip hop crowd, but in the African American community. Look at her. Look, come on. They ain't even asking no serious questions or beneficial questions. Like, come on, man.
To pay back.
I think even if you have to pay back, it's interesting. So I used to be a former state liquor authority commissioner, and a lot of times people would fill out applications, but they would not always put the 100% truth on it. And anytime you do that on a government document, you kind of not just lose the trust of the agency reviewing your document, but there can be criminal implications.
So you don't get that risk if you want.
Can't you get an SBA loan though?
Yeah, you can get an SBA loan, but that's different than falsifying documents to get the loan.
But you get
right?
an SBA loan based on your business,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the employees, based on your business been in service and all that other stuff.
Just tell the truth.
So do you know who Dre and Michelle is?
Dre Michelle?
Dre. Okay, well let me tell you. She posted this the
Michelle,
other day.
hold on. Go ahead. You can ask your question.
Who's this?
All right. She says, hey, I got a question for my little scammers. Laugh out loud. If you get an SBA loan and it's under a business name, what are the steps to paying it back? And if it's under the business name and you go into default, does it go under your personal credit? You got the picture.
Oh boy.
That's
her.
That's right.
You want to give her a loan, don't you? You want to give her a loan, don't you?
So,
Come on, Kevin.
So while I'm a lawyer, I'm not an expert in this particular area, and I'm not here to, give legal advice. So I'll have to leave that to our lawyers. But happy
I'm
to
not
help
trying
out.
to give the wrong information out here.
Plus, I saw the photo, and I'm trying to get past this question as quickly as possible.
We'll tell Dre to just DM me.
Now, how have small businesses recovered since the beginning of the pandemic?
It's been really tough, and as you know, so many. Let me just take the restaurant industry for example. And some estimates say that 5,000 restaurants had closed during the pandemic.
See, it's crazy. They giving him this platform, but what he talking about, the businesses he's talking about, the people that he talking about, that all these statistics is not who this platform is even reaching. That's concerned. People like me, like Carmeli and the guy before he got on, these statistics, man, they ain't giving us these loans. We ain't getting this. We in that minority bucket, but we at the bottom of that bucket. He's a minority. Asian people in New York City qualify for the same thing we qualified for. And look who's in charge of handing it out. Who you think he gonna give it to, man? Come on,
usually
man.
about 25,000.
They ain't even pressing it.
Area. And has been heartwarming though is that I've been out in the streets. I was out in Jamaica, Queens. I know you're from Queens. I'm from Queens,
and that's where they got the largest population of Asians is in Queens. Who you think he giving these loans to, bro? He just said, he didn't say nothing about Brooklyn with them black people. Man, bro, come on. This is all a scam. He's scamming. And then he go up there to make it seem like he an ally or something. Man, you think he giving African-American males them loans? He might give like a Jamaican immigrant that loan, but African American, they ain't dealing with us like
Sunnyside
that.
originally in the 70s, and then Bayside, Queens,
What
and
high school you
so
went to?
I went to so Townsend Harris High School when they first started. I was in the first graduating class, 1988. But yeah, I grew up in Queens in the 70s and
St.
80s. So.
Francis.
Oh yeah, St. Francis, bro, of course. So, but I was out in Jamaica, Queens, with Council Member Natasha Williams and Council Member Linda Lee, and we were walking the corridors. And it was unbelievable to see how many businesses were actually opening now. Because I think there is some opportunity with the lower rents and whatnot, but most of the businesses we saw, they were immigrant-owned businesses. Because I think they realize, like, they come to this country whenever they...
Immigrant. That don't have nothing to do with African American. This is an African American podcast. Hip hop is African American culture that's enjoyed by the world. It's not the world culture. It's our culture. He coming up here talking about not even us. The majority of the buildings ain't even ours. Businesses ain't even ours. My bad.
They come, COVID or not. And they have to feed their family. So a lot of them just have to start a business because they have to. But it was incredible. Like there was a place called La Bonne Pan, a Haitian bakery that opened up a year and a half ago, and they're doing really well. And you know, it's like we're there to help anytime they need it, but they launch themselves, doing fine. It's great to see.
Yeah, some of my friends, one of my friends, she owns this restaurant in Brooklyn called Tilly's. And the pandemic actually helped her business during that time because it was less staff that you needed.
Right.
And so so as far as paying staff, it was a lot less. And then she did a lot of takeout orders and delivery orders. So that really helped sustain them and keep it going. So I think for certain people, it wasn't bad, and for a lot of people it was.
Yes, most people it was bad, but I think we're trying to take the silver lining out of it. I think some great programs have come out of the pandemic. The open restaurants program, you know, more outdoor seating opportunities. We have the
To-go
open
liquor.
To-go
you gonna
liquor,
keep
which
that
is
going?
right. They're trying. That's a state issue, and the governor's for it, but the legislatures are kind of holding it back a little bit. But the open streets program came out of it. You know, they closed down the streets. Less parking is an issue, and
More traffic because the streets are closed off.
yeah, so there's a lot of balancing acts, and they're talking about how to make open restaurants between balance between the businesses, the residents, and sanitation issues too.
Now we want to talk about BNYC
Yes,
because
yes.
that's what we're really here for. And I do feel like marketing is really important for people to know these services are available and be able to take advantage of them.
Sure. So we're really proud of our BNYC Black Entrepreneur NYC program, as you know, and you were there for the launch, right?
I launched at the Apollo.
When they say black, that's a wide term. That could just mean black people that ain't even African Americans, that the ones that built this country. Like, we gotta stay away from these words, bro. They crazy.
And thank you for that. And so we launched a couple of years ago. We've connected over 1,500 current and aspiring entrepreneurs since then. We have robust programming, 5 programs that are going on. We have a very active mentorship program. I think that's one of the big issues with many BIPOC and immigrant community type businesses that start.
Immigrant and black, that mean not African American. Like I told you. She gotta keep interchanging these words. Who is y'all talking about? Like, who is y'all talking about?
Start up. They need mentors, and it's hard to find. So we're in the business of helping them connect. We just launched a Black business online directory, the first comprehensive directory. I think if, for example, you're looking for a cool juice place in Brooklyn and you typed up juices in Brooklyn,
Juices
then
for life,
hey,
baby.
somehow Juices for Life shows up. But we really encourage Black business owners to come onto our site, nyc.gov/shop black, and to register their businesses, because in June we're going to do a huge marketing push to say, hey, you want to support Black-owned local businesses? You type in whatever it is you want, the borough you want, and boom, you're going to get that. We have about 2,500 businesses signed up now, but we're trying to get that to 5,000, 10,000, and keep going.
For all of our Black-owned business owners, make sure you sign up. And I was reading these statistics that only 3.5% of businesses in New York City are Black-owned businesses, and we make up 22% of the population.
Yes, it's that is a number that
3.5. Oh, I gotta hear that again.
Business owners, make sure you sign up. And I was reading these statistics that only 3.5% of businesses in New York City are black-owned businesses, and we make up 22% of the pop.
22% of the population, and only own 3.5 of the businesses. The Rock is in the building. What's up, Jay-Z? Take that, take that. What's up, Puff Daddy? Who else is them two billionaires that's from New York City? Oh man. Woo-wee. This is a mess.
Yes. It's that is a number that stares right at your face, and that's something that we're working every day to change. I think there are opportunities.
They working every day to change that, really. Every day. Y'all working so hard every day that you just named a number for those other businesses that you got popping. Did you work every day to do that? They working every day to make sure the numbers stay the same. Come on.
Opportunities coming down the road, especially in more emerging industries like cannabis and crypto. And I think that this is a real opportunity for the black community to take advantage.
Well, SBA loan gift for
SBS.
SBS. So the issue with cannabis is that federal government still doesn't allow it, right? So it gets a little bit complicated. But the state has mandated in their laws that the communities that were most impacted by the war on drugs are going to be front in line, and that's our administration.
We got to make sure that really happens.
Right, the execution. No, I really think in this case the execution is the key, right? And
it's bullshit. I'm saying.
Why do you say that?
Application fee for cannabis, right? You got to purchase a lawyer, and then you got to pay somebody to write the application. How much is that?
I think I don't know exactly, but I think the application fee was saying around $300, but they're going to be
what?
I think $300.
No.
The application is
to get somebody to write an application fee.
But this is where. But this is exactly why you call SBS, because we will help you go through that application without paying for free. This is your taxpayer dollars at work. Mm-hmm. You've already paid for it, right? So come to us. We're gonna hold your hand and get you through the process for free.
So we could get that application fee waived.
Well, I don't know, but I don't want to get into the details of the state.
But no, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that's the point of entry. The point of entry is the application.
Is $300.
No, but I think. Sorry. Let me take a step back, since I don't want to get into trouble, because this is a state program, but the city is partnering with them, right? And SBS our focus is to make sure that the people you're talking about who want to get involved, who can't do it because of economic challenges, whatever reasons. That's what we're here to help solve. And so whether it's 300 or whether it's more, the city is committed to making sure, especially with legacy market players, we want them in the system. Because if you have this system where you have the regulated people owning retail shops, for example, and then there's still people out in the black market selling, it doesn't help either side, right? So other states have messed up on that. And that's something that I do credit. The state has been very aware of those issues, and that's what they're working on. But SBS, if you're thinking about starting a cannabis business,
they working on shutting down the people that's selling weed that ain't got a license. You see, he said we working on that. They working getting y'all out the way in totality. And all the weed that's going to be getting sold, guess what? They going to get sprayed down and y'all going to be smoking it. Hey.
Business, you should contact us. It hasn't been implemented yet by the state, but as soon as it does, that's when you need to call us.
The only reason I say that is it sounds good, but the problem is the amount of money and assets and liquid that you need. Somebody who's been affected by drugs the way that they have been blacked up for all this time, 9 times out of 10 are not going to have that. So they're going to have to go to somebody who has that money, and usually it's not other black people. It's usually a white person, a white businessman. So they give the black person 20% of the business, 30% of the business to get in the door, and they take 70. And then after 2 years, they don't have to have that person anymore, and they wind up losing it. So it really doesn't benefit. Now, if the application fee was just $300, I'm with you all day. But the application fees go from anywhere from $75,000 to $250,000.
Unless it's different in New York than Jersey.
$75,000. Man, they did that on purpose for an application fee. There's no way, fam. They did that because they knew that'll keep us out of it. And guess what? Arab or somebody from India, they qualify as a person of color that's affected by the drug trade. Ain't that crazy? Somebody from Pakistan could come over here, jump right in our shoes, but get the money from the government, and then they gonna sell the weed. Push us right out the market.
Qualify, don't you have to have more than 50% ownership? Has to be a minority or a black person
For 2
or
years.
a woman?
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
believe. But just
You can be the face.
But just to take a step back, I guess maybe I was talking about the processing fee. Maybe that's the actual cost of starting up any business. Yes, it could be 75 to 250,000 because you need to get a store, you need to get leads. I mean, you know that because you're a business guy. But the state also has a fund that they've committed to. I don't know. I don't remember the exact number, and so I don't want to be misquoted. But it is with that in mind to help the startups. They understand what the cost will be, and the city understands it. So we're going to all work together to make sure, again, that the people most impacted by the war on drugs are going to be front in line. And that's something that we're
And let
committed
me ask you this: does the SPS, they also can help you as far as getting a loan from a bank, right?
Yes.
They can help you with the
Yes.
paperwork and connecting you.
That's right. We have a network of lenders as well. And so they should call us and we can see what industry they're in, what their needs are, and then we can connect them to
And
the right
grants
people.
as well. You
Yes,
can get grants.
yes.
So they can help you with all of those things.
Yes.
When I did my MWBE, you guys walked me through every single step because it is a lot of paperwork.
It is a lot of
and it is a commitment to do it. But if you're committed to having a successful business, these are things that you have to do.
Absolutely.
You know, they said Wells Fargo approved just 47% of refinance applicants versus 72% of white applicants. Why is that?
Well, I think that's been a historical issue where I think minority, especially black.
Quit using that word minority. Like, man, especially, no, they specifically was denying black people was, he named two groups. The guy named two groups. This dude just added minorities in it. Like, come on.
Applicants to traditional bank loans do get denied at higher rates. There's so many factors. So again, I'm not an expert in that area, but I think that, you know, as a business anyway, New York City, you come to us, we're going to help you guide through and get you the best opportunities, connect you to the best resource that we can.
Just a
Sure.
philosophical question, right? Like, you know, we always talk about entrepreneurship and business ownership, and we always say that, you know, black people need to be more entrepreneurs, more business owners, because that'll help close the racial wealth gap in America. Do you really believe we'll see that in our generation?
You know, I definitely see that if you get more people into entrepreneurship opportunities, that the generational wealth shift happens. So I'll just quickly go into my own
Just think
story.
about how wide this gap is.
No, it's tremendous.
Yeah.
And you know, data wise, it shows that if your head of household is an entrepreneur, you're a self-employed business person, or run your own business, your net worth is 63% more than other people, and you're 2x, twice as more income, twice as much income as somebody who's working, you know, for a company, W-2 employee, for example. So what I'm trying to say is that I know personally the generational difference that a successful business can make. My parents came here from Korea in 1975 with nothing. It was 5 of us living in Sunnyside, Queens in a 1-bedroom, my sister, my grandmother, and they started a little artificial flower business. My mother would be a designer. She would design these flowers. My dad would take it door to door in the garment district. Eventually, they made a little bit of money, and then we moved to Bayside because they wanted to go where the schools were, right? So Francis Lewis Boulevard, you know, IS-25. So in one generation, I know that they went from being immigrants, entrepreneurs, and here I am sitting in this seat talking to you guys, trying to help other people. So when you say, you know, is this something that's possible? I think it's possible, but we need people to understand there are resources like SBS that they need to rely on, and that the path to entrepreneurship, and many times, will be better than just, you know, taking on your traditional, let's say, you know, minimum wage jobs, for example. So that's what we're trying to do here. One of the programs that I'm working on is really to understand the justice involved community and how we can get them on a path to entrepreneurship versus just jobs. And I really do feel cannabis and crypto are two emerging areas where the regulatory settings aren't quite there to be as discriminatory in certain instances that we've seen in other industries in the past.
Yeah,
and I think it's an opportunity. So that's where we come in to help.
We appreciate you for joining us.
Yes,
thank you for
thank
sharing
you.
some knowledge to the people.
And
some
again, where
information.
can people go to sign up if you have a black-owned business and
Yes.
they want to be listed in that directory?
Thank you. So there's two sites. It's the same thing, www.nyc.gov/BE. So, right, BNYC. And then there's also /shop black. So those are the two, nyc.gov/BNYC and then /shop black. So those are the two sites. We encourage people, register your businesses so that more people can know about it, and we'll help promote it.
All right. Well, we have Kevin D. Kim. Thank you for joining us. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Oh man, I don't know, man. Hey, we gotta. My final thoughts on this is the term black, people of color, and minority is not good for African Americans. And I'm going to tell you that right now. We got to change. We need something specific. There's a couple of names out there. You got FBA, Foundational Black American. Then you have ADOS, American Descendant of Slave. Those will suit us better because black includes too many people that don't have our lineage, that ain't hang on American trees. They came over here when it was safe after the 60s. After we done bled, died, and cried for this nation, built it, and they hopping right in our shoes. Minority, it includes too many people. People of color is too many people of color. And they set things out there that we work for, and we at the bottom of that. Then they throw the woman part in there, so they put the man at the bottom of the bottom. And the money, the man needs to be the one that get the opportunities because he gonna provide for everybody. If you look at the neighborhoods where African Americans stay at, the majority of them are single parent homes where just the mom is there. Look how wild the neighborhoods is. The majority of black men in prison was raised by black women. That's why they don't want opportunities for black men, because then a black man will be in their household. And their household will be ran correctly. We out of here. Hey, man. Fast way gang.